Another thing that you want to consider is, I was talking about vacancies. Your units may not always be rented. There may be times where someone moves out, and you need to make sure that you set aside money so that that expense is covered while you're getting the property repaired, painting, flooring, dealing with anything that you have to do to get the unit spruced up to get somebody else in there. So that vacancy is something that you have to take under consideration as well. You may think that you're making $1,000 a month on your rental property. And besides the fact that there are other expenses, you only figure on the mortgage being taken out. So if your unit is empty for a month or two, that $1,000 that you were counting on in December equaling up to $12,000, because your property was vacant, your single family residence was vacant for 2 months, now you only have $10,000 to pay a $12,000 bill. But had you been factoring in the fact that, okay, my unit may be vacant, at some point during the year, so I'm going to set some money to the side, there's money available or there's no money available to take care of that deficit or that gap in between when it was rented and when it wasn't rented. So we want to take into consideration there may be times that our units are vacant no matter how great a landlord you are, how great the tenants, speak about you. There may be a job that they're able to get somewhere else and they have to leave. There may be, some family situation where they need to go and, live with mama or take care of auntie, so that unit becomes vacant. You need to factor that into your budget. Another thing, property management. Property managers generally charge 8 to 10% to manage a property. Now, initially, my goal is to manage the property personally, but as I grow in properties, I'm not planning on being a property manager. Other things that I want to do. I want to hire out a property management company to see after my properties. So that's something that you need to factor in, that 8 to 10%. And I'm saying 8 to 10% of the monthly rent is what most property managers are charging. So if you're charging $1,000 per month for rent on a 4-unit, that's $4,000. The property manager is going to charge up to $400 for their services, up to $400. It may be less depending on, what kind of deal you work out. And they may have some other fees worked in there. So you need to make sure that you have property management fees factored in to your expenses. All of these things are expenses that most people don't take into consideration when they're considering doing investment properties, renting them out. But these are things you need to consider. Another thing, repairs. You're going to have to repair when somebody kicks a hole in the wall, or a cabinet door falls off, or a tenant moves out and you need to go in and freshen up the paint or the carpet or the flooring, do what you need to do to spruce the place up so someone else will want to get in there for your advertisement pictures or whatever. You need to make sure that you put some money aside, whether it's $50 a month, $25 a month, whatever, against the likelihood that you're going to have to do repairs when that unit becomes available or empty. All of these things you need to factor in. Otherwise, when it becomes empty, you have this unit that you need to repair, fix up, spruce up. Now all of a sudden, all of that money is coming out of your bank account that you did not plan for repair expense, and it's going to potentially be a big hit to you because you didn't plan for it. So all of these things need to be factored in. Another thing, the last two things I want to talk about, capital expenditures and mortgage payment. Now, the capital expenditures are major things like the roof, the painting of the outside or sprucing up the outside of your, I'm saying small multifamily, but the fascia board, things that are on the outside that need to be taken care of, the HVAC units need repair or replacement. You have well, I said HVAC, but you may have as a capital expenditure, the appliances need to replace, the stove, the refrigerator, dishwasher. These things usually last, the roof should last 20, 30 years, but at some point in time, that 20, 30 years is up and the roof needs to be replaced. The painting on the outside needs to be done, or the outside needs to be done. You have the appliances that need to be replaced. These are capital expenditures because they're things where the items are due to last a very long time. You don't have to replace them very often, but at some point they do have to be replaced. So if you're putting a little bit of money aside every month in your budget against the fact that the roof is going to need to be replaced in 10 years. Maybe you bought the property and the roof had been replaced 10 years ago. Well, you have 20 years before that roof is going to probably need to be replaced again. So to put money aside for capital expenditures is the thing that you want to do. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a large amount of money. You could put $25 a month to the side. $25 a month for 20 years is a lot of money. So, it doesn't have to be $100 or, something like that, but you need to put something to the side. The last thing is your mortgage payment. That's a definite expense. You don't want the mortgage company or lender foreclosing on the property and stopping you before your dream has been able to come to a full bloom. So these are some of the expenses that you definitely want to take into consideration. I am Kelvin Davis, your multifamily newbie. I appreciate you coming on this journey with me. And as always, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the top. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Have an awesome weekend.